Today, we're tackling a phrase we've all heard, or maybe even said ourselves. I need to think about it. We're breaking down what this really means, why it's often just an excuse, and how the Kolbe A Index can help to understand the deeper forces at play when someone hesitates to take action.
You're listening to the Banking on Digital Growth podcast.
Welcome back to the Banking on Digital Growth podcast. I'm Audrey Cannata, operations lead here at the Digital Growth Institute. And joining me for today's conversation is founder and CEO, James Robert Lay.
Well, hello, Audrey.
Hello, James Robert.
Let's you were asking me what we were going to talk about for this conversation, and I was like, I don't know, I got to think about it. That never happens.
I know. We have been having an abundance of ideas lately.
And a lot of it is these ideas for the conversation come from real-time discussions with financial brand leaders, especially now as I am having conversations around the Digital Growth Accelerator. And there are sometimes some of them who are like, oh, it sounds great, but I need to think about it. And I'm like, what do you need to think about? What are you waiting on?
Right.
And then I have to step back, and I'm looking at the world very differently than they are. You're far more empathetic to how they naturally take action, how they operate, because this is Kolbe. And if you haven't listened to Kolbe, go check out our other conversations. Just Google or go to YouTube, Digital Growth Kolbe, and you can get caught up on this. And maybe because we are bringing Kolbe back in, just a quick refresher, a reframe into what is Kolbe. If this is the first time someone who is watching or listening is like, Kolbe, what is that? What are they talking about here?
Yeah, so the Kolbe looks at and identifies how you naturally solve problem and take action. So this is looking at your cognitive strengths, the cognitive part of your mind. This is like your natural OS. These are instincts. This is really how you are hardwired when you were made. And it's very different. And this is one of the things I always want to put in there. It is very different, and it's not the same as a personality assessment. Your personality is dynamic. It is largely dependent upon your environment, where you are in your life, what the situations are. Your personality is also, it's that, those are desires and preferences and motivations, whereas your cognitive strengths, this is how you naturally make progress, take action, and solve problems. So it's not personal. This is just how you operate. And so that's one of the things I love about it. It gives you the freedom to be yourself and say, hey, this is just how I was wired to be.
And I think that I need to think about it, comment that so many have said to me, whether that's thinking about joining the Digital Growth Accelerator, making a commitment to secret shop their website, or even after we deliver a website secret shopping study, and what are you going to do next? They're like, I need to think about it. I'm like, what do you need to think about? It's because their way of operating is vastly different than how I naturally operate, take action, solve problems. When someone says I need to think about it, what is surfacing here possibly when it comes to the Kolbe profile and the different action modes?
Yeah, so there are four different action modes that the Kolbe index looks at, and they're each of the different four modes. It's like a degree, a sliding scale, and so it's to the degree in which you might initiate action or resist action in that certain area. And one of the action modes specifically deals with your need for information. How do you gather and share information? It's your need for details. It's your need for evidence, to ask questions, to do research. And so when we're looking at this scale, this fact finder scale, generally we see in the financial industry people are initiating in this fact finding, meaning they begin their problem solving or they take action by doing research, asking questions, gathering details, having discussions, getting enough details so that they're confident to take action and make progress. And that's where we see a lot of people in the industry get stuck in this area.
Analysis by paralysis, which once again, that's at the opposite end of the spectrum of how I personally take action or how I solve problems. In fact, when it comes to the fact finding modality of or the action mode of Kolbe, I'm a resistant fact finder. I just need the executive summary. Give me the high level, give me the bullet points, don't bore me with the details. And then I'm doing my natural way of acting or solving problems is with quick starting. And so that's when someone tells me to think about it. I'm like, well, what do you need to think about it? Like, let's just go. It's time. Let's roll. And I think that's also where some counterbalance comes into play. But at the flip side, I'm very understanding and empathetic that this is not how the typical financial brand leader is initiating action. They're, in fact, they're like me as a resistant fact finder. They're a resistant quick start. What's going on here?
Well, and here's the thing, like this isn't a right or wrong or a strength and a weakness.
No.
And so the fact that if you do initiate as a fact finder, meaning you do look at research and you do need to investigate and ask questions, there is nothing wrong with that. In fact, I mean, that is wonderful. And so being in this action mode is great. What I think is important about the conversation, though, is that level of awareness of, okay, this is why I'm doing that, because that's my natural operating mode. I know this, but I also know if I stay here, I won't make progress. So what do I do to make sure that I make progress and move forward, knowing that naturally I really need to spend some time here digging up some details and asking questions and, looking at historical evidence of how we've done it in the past.
Well, I think it's also why we have continuously optimized the work that we do and our own methodology, because we have learned more and more and more through the work with Kolbe. I mean, you are our certified Kolbe consultant and you are pattern matching the natural operating modalities and action modes for financial brand leaders, that it's like they do need the facts. They do need the information. They do even need the systems and the processes to make them feel confident about moving forward, about making progress. But at the same exact time, analysis by paralysis is a very real thing. And that's where, we get into what is known as cognitive cloning. We do see that with teams. And if you don't have someone on the team who is an initiating quick start, which is my natural mode of operation and of taking action, what happens if, as you have seen many times before, cognitive cloning? So you have an over index of initiating fact finders or initiating follow throughs. How is progress even made to begin with in the first place? Or do they just keep doing what they've always done because it's all they know, and B, for them to take some level of action requires some type of quick starting action mode, whether that's an internal capability or external, which a lot of times is how I come in and stir the pot and, we get things moving forward, and then I'll step out and come back in, and I'll pop in and out so that I'm not burning people out of just quick start, quick start, quick start.
Oh gosh, a lot comes to mind here. I think for one of the things that we see a lot when we have a lot of these initiating fact finders on a team or in a room is the discussions and the meetings. They go on and on and on because everyone feels that need to justify, to explain, to discuss. And so one of the things that we see, and that I know I've worked with leaders who are like, oh my gosh, this is so true. So being mindful of that and really setting things in place that limit, timers, having someone kind of keep a very structured agenda to move on and make decisions. I do think that it's not that these teams aren't taking any action. It's really more so, how are they taking action and what are they taking action on? So I think that they're very comfortable doing things that they've always done. Why? Because it's been proven to work in the past. We have our evidence. We have our reasoning. That's where I feel comfortable. It makes logical sense to me. So let's keep going that way. The issue lies in the experimentation of new ideas, innovative ideas, trying something different. That's where there's going to be some resistance.
In that resistance, like that, well, I need to think about it. Could it be that that's an excuse, and it's not even an excuse, it's more of a protection mechanism, and there might be some deeper rooted unanswered questions or unanswered facts that they need resolved before they can move on, before they can take action, before they can make progress. What could be the deeper symptom here whenever someone just says, well, I need to think about it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it certainly could be fear, uncertainty. I don't know how this is going to shake out, so I don't want to go this direction. I think we see that a lot, and I understand that. I empathize with that as well. It's too risky. It's too scary to try something different. Let's stick with what's working. Let's play it safe. That's where I feel more comfortable and confident. But we also know that what got us here today
Right.
won't get us where we need to go tomorrow.
And I think that's one of the reasons, like, my response is, okay, I'm going to think about it. Well, how long are you going to think about it for?
Right. What else do you need? Because if you're looking for a crystal ball, that's not going to happen. We can give you as much evidence and reasoning that we have, but then at some point you have to take it upon yourself to make a decision, either yes or no. You're on the boat, you're off the boat. Just pick. For me, the most frustrating thing is just staying in the limbo. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the conversation with Audrey, but I wanted to take a quick minute to tell you about the 2025 Digital Growth Accelerator program that we have exclusively for growth-minded financial brand marketing, sales, and leadership teams who want to thrive and not just survive in 2025 and beyond. Now, if this sounds like you, text me right now, 832-549-5792. Let's have a quick conversation. That's because when you join the Digital Growth Accelerator program, you and your team are going to get access to a customer journey assessment along with a website secret shopping study that shows you exactly where you have blind spots in your customer journey, costing you millions of dollars in loans and deposits right now. You're also going to get access to all 12 classes in the Digital Growth University so that together with your team, you can develop a strategic growth blueprint that guides you forward along your journey of growth. And then finally, you're going to get ongoing learning and development through quarterly customer journey masterclass workshops that show you exactly what you need to do next to eliminate common customer journey blind spots so that you can level up your loan and deposit growth every 90 days. Even better, you can join right now, 100% risk-free. There's no risk to join the Digital Growth Accelerator. That means because you can have your money back, that by the end of 2025, if you don't get at least a dozen new ideas that will build your brand, that will help you eliminate customer journey blind spots, you get your money back. Put it another way, what are you risking by not joining the Digital Growth Accelerator? How many more loans and deposits are you going to risk losing because you probably have unseen gaps? You have unseen blind spots in your customer journeys right now that you're just simply not aware of. And it's not your fault. It's no one's fault. It's just, we just don't know. We don't know. Here's the best part. When you take action, when you apply what you learn in the Digital Growth Accelerator, you're going to make your investment back. You're going to make the investment back that you're making in yourself. You're going to make the investment back that you're making in your team when you acquire just 3 to 5 new accounts. So if you're ready to thrive and not just survive in 2025, text me right now, 832-549-5792. Let's have a quick conversation and let's get back to the conversation with Audrey. But it's interesting that staying in the limbo, that's where I think like the future growth index, which is another measurement tool that we use for individuals and specifically for teams, and how an individual or how the collective, the team is perceiving the future in the present moment at through 3 different lenses. You've got the macro global level, you've got the organization, and then you got the team. And so when you think about the future, are you looking at this through a lens of abundance, hope, optimism, or could you be looking at the future through a lens of scarcity, doubt, and not being certain? And what we're seeing a lot of times, specifically now, is there are teams who are stuck in the zone of uncertainty. That's number one. Number two, when you add in the Kolbe profile, specifically thinking about the initiating fact finders, that's almost a double whammy of inaction. And my question is, how long? What are you losing because of your inaction, because of your inability to make a decision? Specifically thinking about website secret shopping. How do you think about it? Or we got at these other things. Great. Would you say that you're probably losing loans and deposits right now because you've never secret shopped your website? Yes. How much? I don't know. Well, when I look at what we've been doing for other financial brands, we're talking tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars over the course of a year. Is this something that you want to solve now? Or do you want to wait a year and we'll come back and we'll talk about it? And people are like, I want to solve it now. Why? Simple reframe. Let's find the bags of cash right now. It's almost like a treasure hunt. It's like we've secret shopped these websites before. We know where the treasure's hidden. We know where the bags of cash are. Let's go and find that together. And then when we do that, it's a complete reframe. And that inspires them to start taking some action. And I know there are 2 recent website secret shopping studies and that we've done where we have found we'll call it the conflict between the cognitive strengths right here. You've got the marketing, you've got the sales side of things. The inaction, basically. Where's the inaction?
This organization that we were talking to, this marketing team, they had just went out and just invested in a lot of new technology. And they were concerned that their sales teams weren't utilizing it. They weren't fully utilizing it and reaching out to leads and, following up or I guess taking the baton from the work that marketing had done to follow up. And I do think that it very well could be due to their Kolbe. And this is a second action mode. We haven't discussed it today yet, but this is looking at the follow through. And this is your need for systems and processes and organization and doing these kind of behaviors and following up with leads and working them through a funnel. That very much takes some initiating follow through activity. And what we know about sales, what makes a good salesperson, their delivery, their relationships is not necessarily, you can't tie that to this follow through mode. Many times, and this is where you have admitted, this is an area that has been challenging for you because you know that you're not an initiating follow through. You break systems, you find the shortcuts, and we love that about you, but it doesn't lend itself to a nice, clean sales process.
No, and I think that's where you and I are able to collaborate on this. And it's like, let me get people to a certain point, and then when it comes to the need for contracting and invoicing and onboarding. I'm like, okay, Audrey's got you covered. Audrey's gonna take very, very good care of you, because that is your initiating action mode. That it gives you energy. And it's like, no, 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 I'm resistant follow through. It's like, let me show up, let me facilitate, let me work in my growth ability, let me work in just that quick start, because it's something that I could do literally all day long. I mean, like this podcast. And I joked about, like, well, when you asked me what we're going to talk about, or what, what's on my mind, I'm like, I never say let me think about it. It's just I've always got something to quick start off of. Um where can we go from here? To help those who have a very high probability to be an initiating fact finder, or to be an initiating follow through, to help guide them from thinking to doing, because we can think a lot, but that doesn't make progress. That doesn't inspire action. How can we help encourage them, guide them to move from thinking to doing, to take action?
Well, I mean, I think it starts with just knowing yourself, self-awareness, and a big piece of that we advocate for is your Kolbe.
Yeah.
Knowing what your Kolbe is, knowing what your MO is, know how you naturally operate, and recognize what gives you energy and what does not give you energy, so that you can monitor yourself and kind of self-assess as you're making decisions. Okay, am I operating because, am I operating in my natural MO right now? Okay, great. Now, is that preventing me from taking action because of that? Or am I just, is just where I need to be? So I think knowing how you naturally operate, and really those on your team too, so that you can just be aware of, okay, I get it. I know I'm an initiating fact finder. Yes, this project should have been started a long time ago. Okay, I see what I'm doing. I'm delaying because I'm needing to ask a lot of questions. How much information do I need before I'm willing to move forward? It may not be 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe give yourself the green light to move forward when you've got 80% confidence. Because if you try to wait for that 100%, you're not going to get going. So it's these little things about just knowing yourself, and why you're operating certain ways, I think are just can't be overstated.
I mean, let's make this even more practical with yourself, because once again, you're an initiating follow through, and you have a higher level of fact finding need than I do. What do you need that you can move forward? And I know a lot of times you're like, I don't have clarity.
Plan.
I need a plan,
Need
or
a
you,
plan.
but communication too, because you're like, even if I
I
think
need
about, I think about one of the new initiatives that we're working on for 2025, and it's like I just sit here and just quick start all day long, and then I share it with you, and then you're like, I don't get it yet, and then we keep coming back, and you're like, I don't get it yet, and then we keep coming back. And I think it's that ongoing dialogue, discussion, and discourse, though, that is it's allowing me to work in a quick start
without draining me.
mode without draining you. Yeah. Because I even think
Yeah.
about the other day, like I text you, I was like, hey, can you hop on Zoom real fast? And it's like, I was like, I was going to send you an email, and I was like, no, let me put this in a Google Doc, get the thinking out of my head. Let me talk you through it, knowing that it wasn't going to be complete, but it was just going to be progress, because it's something that we are working on towards a much bigger future together here. And so
Yeah.
it was dialogue, discussion, and I think you into the call, you're like, I don't get it yet. And I'm like, cool, we'll come back to it next week.
And that's because we know each other. Like I know you called me up last second. Hey, hop on Zoom. I'm like, yep, I know. I knew the mode you were in. You don't do it very often, but when you hit that spurt and you need to get it out of your mind, I'm like, all right, James Roberts, like operating at a 25 quick start right
Yeah.
now. Hop on Zoom. Listen to what you're thinking, and you run through it. And in return, James Robert, you give me time to ask questions. You give me time to poke holes. You don't take it personally, because I'm sitting here thinking, hold on, and I'm not affirming you immediately. Oh wow, that's wonderful, it's great, amazing. And I'm sitting here just and you're allowing me that space to just really think through it, and you're not giving up. So you're right. We ended that 15-minute call not on the same page
And
at
that was
all.
okay.
It's okay. We didn't have to be at that moment.
But I knew it was a step in the right direction. And in fact, I took some of the critical feedback and the questions that you, and it's not about affirmation. I would rather you say, like, this is like some dumb shit. Be honest with
I think
me.
Ashley said, I don't get it.
Right. And I was like, okay. And I was like, you know what? It's Friday. We'll go into the weekend and then we'll come back and then we'll just continuously iterate. And I think, as of recording, we're almost a week in to where we were, and then we're getting together in person and we're going to do a deep dive. But I think having done that pre-work ahead of the
Yes,
deep dive, it's going to make our
you would have
deep
blown my
dive.
mind in one sitting. You could not have unloaded all of that in one sitting.
Fair point. And if I think back, I've done that a couple of times, and it's like learning from it. Don't deep dive without giving Audrey a preview into the thinking.
Yeah.
So slow things down. And this is the whole beautiful power that Kolbe continues to provide for us, but then also for the teams that we have facilitated and have guided through the Kolbe mode and methodology with them as well.
Yeah. I mean, I can't stress and celebrate it enough. Kolbe is, I mean, it's not even a game changer. Like, it has been a critical piece of this organization.
This might sound like hyperbole. You mentioned it's not a game changer. I'll speak for myself. It's a life changer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It really has been, because it allowed me to just be me and to not get frustrated when I like follow through, fact finding. Like, I can do those types of activities knowing they're going to drain the crap out of me. But really, really being intentional with, what my activities should all be quick start focused, just like your activities should be primarily follow through focused.
Absolutely. Wow, this is a
anything to think about? Anything to think about as we close out? Like, do we have any final thoughts about thinking, metacognition, or have we thought enough?
If you have not looked into Kolbe, do it. Promise you, this is not, I mean, I firmly believe in this, and I promise you it's not going to be one of those. I mean, look, you can take it and set it and forget it, and that's up to you. But if you invest the time to really learn and understand it, yes, it can be a life changer.
Audrey, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And thank you all for joining us for another episode of Banking on Digital Growth Podcast.
Y'all be well, do good, be the light. We'll see you next time.